Hello and welcome to this edition of Fulton Justice. I'm your host, Yolanda Lewis, District Court Administrator for the Atlanta Judicial Circuit. This program is dedicated to providing you with resources, information, and a closer look at how our justice system works for you. Today, we'll discuss a historic occasion in the legal system, Law Day, and the exciting events that will occur in honor of Law Week 2013. Each year, Law Week has a specific theme that personifies the importance of our legal system in society. The national theme for this year is Realizing the Dream, Equality for All. Law Day, which kicks off Law Week, is officially recognized on May 1st. This year's theme provides a forum to focus on civil and human rights in America and the impact it has had in promoting the ideals of equality under the law. It also provides an opportunity to reflect on the work that remains to be done in rectifying injustice, eliminating all forms of discrimination, and putting an end to human trafficking and other violations of human rights. Stay with us as we begin our discussion with Superior Court Judge Gail S. Tusan about Law Week here in Fulton County. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Fulton Justice. Joining us now is the Honorable Gail S. Tusan, Judge of the Superior Court of Fulton County and also Judicial Chairperson for the Law Week 2013. Welcome, Judge Tusan.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
So we have a lot of exciting events coming up for Law Week 2013, but before we talk about those, tell me a little bit about your service on the bench.
Well, I have had the pleasure of serving as a judge for almost 29 years. It's hard to believe that now. I've served on the local level in the City Court of Atlanta, was appointed many years ago to that position by then Mayor Jackson. And then in 1992, Governor Zell Miller appointed me to the State Court of Fulton County, where I served for about 3 years before he elevated me to the Superior Court, where I've been ever since. And so it's a fabulous job, a wonderful honor to serve the citizens of Fulton County and Georgians at large. And we are initially appointed typically, and then we face the voters every 4 years. So I've been on the ballot now for 6 times.
Now, interestingly enough, you've worked in multiple divisions in the Superior Court because you have worked in the Family Division and now you're working with criminal and civil cases. Can you tell us a little bit about how those experiences were and how they differ? Well,
the Superior Court and the Superior Courts across the state are general jurisdiction courts, and so we're the higher trial level courts, and we are responsible for felony prosecutions, civil cases, any type of subject matter, and domestic cases exclusively. And so several years ago, the Superior Court was a front runner in developing a family division, and I had the pleasure of being one of the charter judges and served many years ago in the family division, and then made an election to return back, and I believe it was 2006, and served there for several years. And those cases are so very important. We handle custody, division of assets, etc. The individuals typically come pretty emotionally charged, as you can imagine. They're going through very traumatic transitions in life, and so it takes a certain, I think, temperament and patience to preside over those cases day in and day out. But we also have the opportunity to volunteer for that and then give our colleagues an opportunity, which is what I decided to do at the end of 2012, and decided it was a good time to make a change and go back to working with the criminal cases and the civil cases, which are always very interesting.
Yes, awesome. So we're going to talk a little bit about Law Week. We're very excited about all the events that are coming up. Tell us a little bit about your role and about the committee in which you act as chairperson over.
Okay. For several years now, Fulton County has had a Fulton County Law Week committee, and I had the opportunity to be appointed this year by our Chief Judge, Cynthia Wright. and we wanted to make sure that there was a kind of a unified approach to the activities and a good partnership between the court system and the citizens and the lawyers that interface between their clients and the court.
Right.
And so we have this committee that is basically comprised of court personnel, some judges, staff attorneys, other individuals such as yourself who work within the system, and then we have representatives from various local bar associations. And so we've been meeting monthly for the last several months, trying to make sure that we offer, you know, a good variety of activities for the public to participate in, so that they can learn more about their legal system, because they're the stakeholders, and find out how to make it as accessible as the Constitution indicates that it should be.
And so some of your partners, talk about some of the folks that you have at the table who are working with you to make Law Week possible.
Well, we have a lot of good folks from Fulton County Juvenile Court, which is actually going to be the venue for the May 3rd program. So we have some of the judges, some of the child advocates and other individuals, and then we have some representatives of some of the bar associations at the table. We have the Atlanta Bar, we have the Gate City Bar Association, which is the oldest African-American bar association in the Southeast. We have GABWA, which is the acronym for the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys. We have the Sandy Spring Bar, and we have the Young Lawyers Division of the State Bar. So those are, I believe, the principal partners in terms of bar associations, and each of those groups is planning one or more activities. And so, again, we've tried to coordinate the efforts so that we can maximize the impact on the Fulton County community.
And so the really interesting thing is that the folks that you have at the table are not receiving any additional funding or any additional money for really putting together a great week of resources for our community. They're doing it out of the graciousness of their position and heart.
They're doing it as, I would say, legal professionals.
Yes.
The whole legal profession is an honorable profession, and what we're told and taught in law school, and we try to reinforce throughout our careers, is that you are to give back to the community. And we want to make sure that individuals, regardless of their backgrounds, their income levels, et cetera, that they know what their rights are, where to turn if they have a legal issue, the resources that are available to assist them in preparing for their cases, so that they can come in and be informed and benefit from the justice system.
And that's a good lead into just telling folks why it's so important to have Law Day, and just give us some historical perspective and why it's significant to our legal system.
Well, I don't know how many people know this. Hopefully more people know each year, because we have been doing this for a while. But Law Day is actually celebrated across the country. It's not just Fulton County or Georgia.
Right.
The very first one, I think, was back in 1957. And in 1958, President Eisenhower proclaimed Law Day as being a national day dedicated to informing citizens of their rights and celebrating the freedoms that we are promised, if not actually enjoy, all of us in this country.
And so that's very important. And a lot of the work that you do is with the community and for the community. So can you talk a little bit about how the service and the events that are going to happen in the next week for Law Week will actually benefit the community?
The actual Law Day is May 1st, but we have expanded it so that there are activities that are going to begin as early as next Monday and go all the way through the month of May. On this coming Monday, we're really excited that there's going to be a fabulous collaboration between a lot of bar associations, many of which I've named, and others, and the new Civil and Human Rights Center that's here in Atlanta. And there's going to be a symposium at the State Bar headquarters downtown Atlanta on Monday. And we're going to get young people and other generations together to kind of reflect on the theme for Law Day, which is realizing, let's see, what is it? Realizing the dream and equality for all. And this being like the 150th, I think, anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation, and we're the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech and President Kennedy's assassination. It's all kind of coming together to cause us to reflect really on what does it mean, equality for all. You know, what are those promises? And so there's going to be an interactive discussion at the State Bar and different breakout sessions on Monday. But in addition to that, we think it's really important to go into the schools because the youth are not always able to come out and attend these programs. And so on May 1st, actual law day, the Young Lawyer Division, they're going to send younger lawyers into Mays High School, talk to them about their careers, their journeys, you know, what brought them from where they once were to where they are now, advocating in courtrooms and boardrooms, et cetera. And there's also a teen court, which is an activity that is generated out of the juvenile court. And it is to actually empower young people to serve in a position of making decisions and judging their peers in terms of their conduct. It focuses on more effective conflict resolution and better ways to stay out of trouble. So that's going to be on May 1st. Next week, we're going to have a mock trial at Thurl High School, which is the magnet school for the Atlanta Public Schools for law and government. And I'm going to have the fun task of presiding over that, where the students are going to do a real jury mock trial. And then on May 3rd, we want everyone to make an effort to come to juvenile court in the afternoon at 2:30. We're going to have a housing workshop. And the focus of it will be housing matters, including landlord-tenant issues, ejectment issues. A lot of people have people in their homes that maybe they invited into their homes or kind of stayed longer than they were welcome, and they're trying to figure out how to get them out. So that's ejectment. And then foreclosure issues. So we're going to discuss all of those as a public service on May 3rd. And then I guess finally, we're going to have an art contest for elementary school children in any Fulton County school. I think the deadline is the 22nd. We're asking them to create art that focuses on the theme of Law Day. And then actually the final activity I think will be on May 18th at Greenbrier Mall. We're going to have a legal clinic, and individuals can come and briefly, for free, discuss their legal issues and get some direction as to maybe next steps.
So I think it's important to note that Law Day and Law Week actually really connects the community at large to the legal community with resources.
It absolutely does. I wanted to just share, if we have time, some of those resources. First of all, the Atlanta Bar has a lawyer referral system. So, and all of these you can find out online. Just Google them. But there's a referral system where if you are looking for a lawyer, one that you can afford, you can contact the Atlanta Bar Association, and they will direct you to someone that will provide you at least with the consultation, hopefully at an affordable price. If you are a low-income citizen and you're not able to pay even for a consultation, there are resources like the Atlanta Legal Aid Society that represents indigent citizens. There's the Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation, which actually does a lot in Superior Court and provides free counsel for citizens who are in need of protective orders in family violence situations. There's a Georgia Center on Homelessness and Poverty that provides free legal service to homeless individuals and families. So there are lots of resources. I know under your direction, we have an awesome Family Law Information Center in our court where individuals can come in person or go online and get all kinds of information, links to more information, forms that can be downloaded to assist them in representing themselves if they need to in a family situation. The State Court of Fulton County has a self-help center that focuses on providing assistance to landlords and to tenants. And even in the juvenile court, they have a complaint center where individuals can go without a lawyer if they have any concerns about juveniles either committing crimes against them, or deprived juveniles that we want someone to check in on and make sure that they're doing okay. So there's probably not enough out there, but there's probably much more than you might think.
And one of the things I wanted to mention, I know we have a lot of events happening this year, but I remember distinctively last year you did a program where you actually went into different communities and talked about resources with the court, and specifically I think you went into the Spanish-speaking community and had an excellent workshop. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We call those our community law days, and we were focusing on, again, domestic issues. But we went into the Latina community, and we had interpreters, and we put a lot of effort into making sure that many of the materials were also in Spanish. And it actually was the best attended workshop. There were just lots of people. We were up at the, I think it was the Latin American Association on Buford Highway. But I think the whole point of Law Day is that we want citizens to know that certainly judges and other court personnel make an effort to actually, step off the bench, come out of the courthouse, go into the community, and meet individuals where they are to provide the information. We can't adjudicate the cases, on the street corner, but we want people to feel welcome. And it's been my experience that the more difficult cases are the ones where the individuals are anxious, they're not prepared, they're not sure of the process. And certainly in Atlanta, a community of very diverse populations, we have a lot of individuals for whom English is not their native language. They've come from other cultures, and they're not so sure about this American system of justice. And so for Americans, born Americans, and those that are here that were born in other countries, we want to make sure that the information is out there.
Now, I know you are the chairperson of the committee, but I think it's important to note that throughout the week, many of the judges on the state Superior Court, juvenile court bench participate in these events. So how will they be involved this year?
Well, one thing that we have made an extra effort to do is to make sure that one or more of the judges makes the time to greet our jurors. And so every morning that jurors report, we have a state court or Superior Court judge greeting them, trying to explain to them the process, ease their worries. And I know that for Law Week, we will probably be expanding what we normally share to give them some information about Law Week. Judge Lethbridge is going to preside over the Housing Matters Seminar on May 3rd at Juvenile Court, and some of the juvenile court judges are going to be there to interact with our guests. The Chief Judge, Judge Boyd, as well as Judge Philip Jackson will be there. And so we definitely have made time as judges to try to support the lawyers, because again, they're very busy and they're making time, and so we think it's important for us to to be co-partners in all of these activities.
Now, I know we talked a little bit about all of the programs that you will be hosting in the school system, but I wanted to go back to that just briefly. Why is it so important for students to know about our legal system early on?
Well, I think in today's time where young people are out and about and are not necessarily supervised much of the time. They're not necessarily idle, but they're not with mom, dad, grandma, whatever. They're out there, and they're going to encounter law enforcement. They're going to have to make decisions that are going to affect their futures. And I think it's really important through legal education, talking to them, kind of meeting them where they are, that they begin to have conversations so that they can just pause for just a moment and reflect on something beyond today. And that's why it's important for them to see a variety of different individuals especially like the younger lawyers. They may be more easily able to relate to someone, you know, in their late 20s or 30s than someone showing up who's 50, 60 or older talking about the good old days. They need to know that we've had similar experiences. You know, we've been at parties trying to decide, you know, should we, shouldn't we? You know, we've been invited to step outside and, you know, smoke something, drink something. We've jumped in a car and not asked the right questions about, well, now where did this car come from? And, you know, is there anything in the trunk that could cause me, you know, as a passenger only, to be charged as a party to a crime? So it's important to have these discussions just as it is important for them to be computer literate, to know their American history, you know, and the other reading, writing, and arithmetic lessons that they would learn in school.
That's a great point. So any final thoughts about what you want people to remember about Law Day and Law Week 2013?
Well, I think it would be wonderful if the takeaway from this would be that, you know, whoever you are part of the system. You have certain privileges and you enjoy liberties that are not enjoyed across the world. And you have a responsibility to, you know, hold your system accountable, to participate in it if you're called as a juror or in any other capacity, and to just kind of share what you've learned with your neighbor, your fellow church member, you know, so that everyone, so that we can spread the word as effectively and as largely as we can.
Well, thank you, Judge Tusan. Great information, and thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Up next, we'll have our closing thoughts. Stay tuned. Today we welcomed Superior Court Judge Gail S. Tusan to discuss the purpose and events of Law Week 2013. Law Day is a national day set aside to celebrate the rule of law here in the United States. Although it is not a national holiday, it is widely recognized in the legal profession and in most local communities as a way to provide education on legal resources and greater access to justice. Law Day underscores how law and the legal process contributes to the freedoms and liberties that we all share. Law Day provides an opportunity to examine the role of courts in our society, as the justice system and its stakeholders are vital in ensuring justice for our citizens and our communities. If you would like to participate in any of the legal and educational programs that will be held in honor of Law Day 2013, please take a look at the events posted on the screen or view our website at www.fultoncourt.org under the News and Events page. Special thanks to our guest, Judge Tusan, and thank you for joining us for this edition of Fulton Justice. I'll see you next time.